Imagine waking up and finding a giant scorpion the size of a truck dragging away your only cow. What would you do? Run or fight a nightmare? The sun hadn't even risen when it began, that strange trembling under the earth. At first it was gentle, the kind of vibration that makes you think a truck is passing by in the distance. But within seconds, the tremor grew stronger, rattling windows, shaking clay pots off shelves, and sending birds exploding upward into the sky like a cloud of dark smoke. People stepped out of their homes, confused, rubbing sleep from their eyes. Some looked toward the hills, expecting to see a landslide. Others checked the sky, thinking it might be thunder rolling in early. But it wasn't the hills, and it wasn't the sky. It was coming from beneath their feet. A low, growling rumble, as if something ancient was clawing its way upward from the depths of the earth. Old Mr. Talbot, the village's only geologist, whispered in panic. This isn't an earthquake. This is something else. And he was right. A moment later, the source revealed itself. With a violent burst of sand and shattered fence posts, a massive black scorpion erupted from behind the grazing fields, larger than any machine, larger than any creature that should logically exist. Its armored plates gleamed like obsidian, glistening under the first pale streaks of dawn. But what truly froze everyone in shock was the tail. The tail glowed, not softly, but like molten metal, pulsing with heat, radiating waves of red-orange fire, lighting up the entire field like a furnace in the dark. Each time it cracked against the ground, a thunderous boom rolled across the valley. And wrapped in the scorpion's claws was the village's beloved cow, Mara. Mara wasn't just any cow. She was gentle, friendly, the animal every kid fed bread to in the evenings. She'd been part of the village for 11 years. So when she cried out, a loud, terrified, heartbreaking sound, the villagers felt it in their chests like a knife. Some screamed for help. Some told others to run. But everyone felt the exact same thing at that moment. Fear. Cold, paralyzing, bone-deep fear. Who would dare to go near a monster like that? The answer arrived moments later. From the far edge of the road, a dust cloud appeared, fast, low, and controlled. A black off-road vehicle skidded into the village, stopping with surgical precision. The doors opened simultaneously. Out stepped a team, four figures dressed in rugged tactical gear, faces sharp with focus, movements steady and planned. They carried no heavy guns, no futuristic weapons, only grappling hooks, reinforced shields, and compact gear strapped across their vests. This was not an army. This was not a government team. This was the Guardians. A group spoken of in rumors and old rescue stories, the people who stepped into situations no one else could handle. Some said they were ex-military. Some believed they were researchers of the supernatural. Others whispered that the Guardians were formed after an event so dangerous it was wiped from public records. Whatever the truth was, they were here now. Their leader, a tall man with a scar running down his cheek, observed the creature with calm, steady eyes. Eyes that looked like they had seen things far worse than this. Thermal tail, he muttered into his wrist mic, high reflex, high aggression. Stay sharp. Another team member knelt down, studying the disturbed earth. Burrower, she whispered. Came from deep underground, maybe even deeper than we've ever tracked. But before they could strategize further, the scorpion let out a horrifying metallic screech, a sound so sharp it sliced through the air like a blade. Mara the cow kicked desperately, trying to break free from the creature's crushing grip. The villagers watched from behind walls, behind overturned carts, behind whatever they could find to hide their shaking bodies. Nobody dared move forward. Nobody except the Guardians. They approached slowly, spreading out in a perfect formation, shields raised, hooks ready. Every step was measured, every breath controlled. The dust thickened as the scorpion dragged Mara toward the desert's edge, its massive claws digging trenches into the earth. The early sunlight hit its back, casting a monstrous shadow across the field, a shadow that swallowed everything in its path. The Guardians advanced, closer and closer. The air crackled with heat from the scorpion's glowing tail. It lifted the massive stinger high, a towering spike of molten fire, and slammed it into the ground, sending shockwaves rolling like ripples on water. Children cried. Adults prayed. Even the bravest among them dared not speak. The world seemed to hold its breath. Dust swirled around the Guardian's boots. Loose gravel trembled. Mara moved again, weaker this time, fading. And then, without warning, the scorpion's tail whipped around with a speed no human eye should be able to track. The sound it made was explosive, like lightning cracking right beside your ear. That was the moment the villagers understood. This wasn't just a creature. This was a force of nature. Something impossible. Something unstoppable. And yet, the Guardians didn't flinch. They didn't step back. They didn't hesitate. They tightened their grips, leaned their shields forward, and prepared to do the unthinkable. Fight a monster to save one innocent cow. The Guardians moved in. Not recklessly, not fearfully, but with the sharp, synchronized precision of people who had survived the impossible more than once. The scorpion's tail rose high into the air, glowing brighter now, almost white-hot at the tip, casting a menacing halo around the beast. Each pulse of heat distorted the space behind it, like the air itself was melting. The first Guardian made the opening move. With a burst of speed, he planted his shield into a cluster of boulders and slammed it with every ounce of strength he had. The impact echoed across the desert like thunder rolling through a canyon. The scorpion jolted, instinctively turning toward the deafening sound. That momentary distraction was all the second Guardian needed. He sprinted across the sand, boots digging in deep, heart pounding, hands steady. Mara the cow lay on her side, still trapped, legs tangled in thick, abrasive rope that had gotten caught under the creature's massive claws. The Guardian slid onto his knees and pulled out a blade, slicing through the fibers as fast as humanly possible. But the creature realized the deception too quickly. Its tail shifted, slowly at first, then faster, much faster. The flaming stinger cut through the air like a spear of molten iron, leaving a glowing trail behind it. The villagers watching from the distance held their breath. Some covered their mouths, unable to look. Others silently whispered prayers. The second Guardian barely managed to roll away as the stinger crashed into the sand where he'd been moments earlier, sending a violent shockwave that blasted sand into sky like a tornado of dust. Everything froze for a split second. Even time seemed to hesitate. The creature reared up, claws snapping open, tail rising again for a killing strike. And that's when the leader made his move. No hesitation. No calculation, just instinct. He ran, straight toward the monster. The other Guardians shouted warnings, but he didn't slow down. He sprinted right into the storm of dust and heat, using the air ripples from a scorpion's tail to propel his jump. He leaped, higher than anyone expected, higher than anyone should have been able to. For half a heartbeat, he was suspended in midair, silhouetted against the burning sunrise, looking impossibly small compared to the gigantic creature. Then he landed on the scorpion's back. The impact sent a metallic crack through the desert. The armor plates beneath him shifted, grinding together like gears inside a machine made of bone. The beast shrieked, an unholy sound that pierced the air and vibrated in everyone's chest. The leader reached into his belt and pulled out a bright red emergency flare, already ignited and spitting sparks. He didn't aim for the soft spots. There were none. Instead, he went for the creature's weakness. Its eyes. Those cold, reflective, insect-like eyes that scanned the world without emotion. With a roar, he plunged the burning flare straight into the gap between the plates near its head. The flare exploded in sizzling light, blinding, furious, chaotic. The scorpion thrashed violently, its legs scraping trenches into the earth, its tail striking wildly at the sky as it writhed in pain. The leader held on desperately, gripping the armored ridges as the monster bucked like a living earthquake. "Go! Now!" he shouted through the smoke and sparks. The Guardians didn't waste a second. The one kneeling by the cow lifted Mara by her rope-free legs, guiding her upward. Another Guardian rushed in to help, gently pushing the terrified cow to her feet. Mara stumbled at first, trembling, confused, but once she saw the village, saw safety, she began to run, guided by the team like an escort around a VIP. Behind them, the scorpion thrashed harder, tail smashing into the ground again and again. The leader timed it perfectly. He let the creature's own movement launch him off its back, tumbling through the air and landing in a roll before sprinting toward his team. The desert shook behind him as the creature crashed sideways, blinded, shrieking, and clawing at the sand. The team and the cow reached the village's outer wall just as the scorpion regained its balance. It stood still for a moment, tail swaying side to side, sparks falling from the flare still embedded in its shell. Then slowly it began backing away, step by step, until it reached the open dunes. Without a sound it turned, and disappeared into the desert shadows. Not defeated, not dead, simply gone. The villagers rushed forward, cheering, crying, hugging Mara as if she were a lost family member. The cow let out a tired, relieved moo that made everyone laugh through their tears. The leader dusted himself off, wincing as he checked a fresh bruise forming along his ribs. A little girl tugged at his sleeve, looking up with wide eyes. "Mister, where did the monster come from?" she asked quietly. He looked at the dunes, then down at her and smiled, but it was the kind of smile that carries secrets. "We don't know," he said gently. "Some things come from places we're not meant to understand." "And will it come back?" she whispered. The leader paused, his gaze drifting to the horizon where the dunes were still trembling ever so slightly. "Maybe," he answered, "but if it does, we'll be ready." And with that the guardians packed their gear, climbed back into their vehicle, and drove away, leaving behind a village that would never forget the morning a giant scorpion tried to steal their beloved cow. To this day, nobody knows where that creature came from or why it surfaced. Some say it was ancient. Some say it was mutated. Some say it was guarding something beneath the sand. But one thing is certain. It's still out there somewhere, watching, waiting,